There's mixed views about asking whether it's a good time for a prospect to talk or not. A lot of people out there would suggest that that is giving the prospect an out, somewhere where they can terminate the call and then they will of course not answer your call again. My perspective is that there is some real benefits to asking whether it's a good time for the client to talk, the prospect to talk or not. So I see the three benefits outweighing the downsides. The first one is that it will set you aside from other cold callers, if you like, because you are respectful of their time and you respect your product and service, and they need to be present for you to explain what it is you're calling about. The second advantage is that if it's genuinely not a good time for them, they're not going to be in the headspace to really absorb what you're trying to say. And so respecting that it is genuine, that it isn't a good time to talk, and using that time to reschedule a time for you to discuss. And if you do that in a really smart way, you can actually get some time in their diary then and there when it is good for them to talk. I think it's important to take people on face value that it is perhaps not a good time at that point. What I've found in the past, the other benefit to respecting that is actually where I reflect on some of the times where they have not been in a good place to talk. So for instance, I would say to them on my third attempt, I've tried you a few times, you're busy again. The first time you were flying out the country, the second you were doing the kiddie pickup. When is the best time? And I guess a bit of tongue in cheek. Most people at that point would feel quite appreciative of your tenacity to speak to them, but also a little bit kind of aware that they haven't been available to take your call. I've received more positive responses to this tactic than negative. Some of the things you can try is, is it a good time is quite an open way of talking. But I think if you can layer that with some other reasons for why they need to take some time to speak to you is quite important. So is it a good time? I'll only need a couple of minutes. I'll be super quick and I think you'll find it of benefit. Be confident in the fact that it won't take very long. You sound busy. I know you don't have much time to waste. I'll be direct and straight to the point. And if they continue to say it's not a good time, then schedule something in their diary. I will often say to people, have you a moment to hear why I'm calling? Because most people are intrigued, especially when my opener is very strong. My opener talks about the benefit or the pain or something that's very strong. Have you got a moment to hear more about this intriguing product or service that I'm distributing? What you can do with check-in when they are free is you can get a specific time in their diary if they aren't available to talk at the moment. The key thing with this is to make sure that when you're suggesting to them, or when they suggest to you that they're not free, that you get a time that they are free. So simply allowing them to get off the phone at that point is not going to serve a great call prospect. What's going to be better is if you can say, okay, you sound busy, you've got through that, you can tell that they're very busy. And it's really not a good time. They're not in the right headspace, or they are just about to get on a plane. It's like, when is a good time to talk? I'm free at 5 today or 8 tomorrow morning. Is that a good time to talk? And if they say no, or you mess around with the time and things like that, persevere with getting something in. It's really great if you can get something in their diary and you can invite them. We've got amazing opportunities with Lusha, and you've got Contacts Plus and Zoom Info. Knowing their email address that you would know already off the bat, to send them a quick invite, just 5-10 minutes. You don't have to say to them, I'm going to send you an invite, or can I send you an invite? You just do it. They've agreed to speak to you at 5 o'clock today. You send them a quick invite. They're more likely to take your call if they have that in their diary. The good thing also is, with it in their diary, is you can put your name in there and your company name, and that will give them some time to digest as well if they perhaps haven't taken in exactly who you are or why you're calling. I think it goes without saying, making sure that you follow up that call. If they have agreed to speak to you at a certain time, you've sent them a diary note, even if it's got a small agenda in it, and they don't pick up your call, I think it's really important to remind them that they've agreed to speak to you at that time. Leaving them a message, even texting them saying, is this still a good time, is completely suitable. And at that point, if you don't hear from them and you sort of start feeling like, well, maybe they are fobbing me off, you diarise them to speak to them the following week, and you try them again via phone, via email, whichever way feels right to you. But because you've got a time out of them and a date out of them as to when they're happy to take your call, you have the most positive anchor to follow that up. What's amazing about some of these sales tactics is that it's just, you can change one line in your whole spiel, which will completely move the dial. So going from, they say they can't talk and you say, no problem, call me back, to don't worry, don't call me, I know you're busy, I'll call you, when are you free, is 5 okay? What you're doing is you're taking out all of that ambiguity, you're taking out all of that, for them, that feeling of they're just wanting to get you off the phone, and you're taking out all of that space in their mind for them to think about that, and you're giving them a time that you will call back. You're showing confidence in your product and you want to speak to them about your product. If they agree to speak to you at that time and you're putting it in their diary, the odds are at some point in the next few days that they will speak to you, and they will have a stronger sense of your integrity by then as well. You would have respected their time. You got a time out of them where it is better to talk. And then from there, just a small change in how you're approaching that call will change the conversions dramatically.